between Oracle EBS and cloud management. This is the third installment of our monthly series in exploring the differences between EBS on-premise and the various cloud modules. Just a reminder, this is a part of our ongoing series, and we'll continue to explore the differences with all of the major Oracle modules. And once again, these take place on the last Thursday of the month. So the final week of the month, we have an update in our series. So my name's Doug Tuff. I'm a Solutions Manager with OSI in the Pacific Northwest. I'll be hosting our webcast today with our panel, Dibby Mukherjee, Sam Samadar, and Kate Capone, our subject matter experts. Dibby is our Vice President of Enterprise Applications with extensive experience implementing, managing, and consulting with customers that use ERP applications to manage and improve their business. Sam, our Practice Manager of Cloud Applications. Sam possesses a strong background in both business and technology with 6 Fusion projects and 15 global EBS rollouts under his belt. He brings an excellent frame of reference to the table. And last but not least is Kate, our Senior Cloud Consultant and expert in supply chain management with over 25 Oracle application implementations under her belt. So let's talk a little bit about OSI. I'll keep this brief. Essentially, why should you be listening to us? OSI is a 24-year-old global professional services firm with about 1,400 employees. We are an Oracle Platinum partner, and we work with a variety of technologies. Today, you will be hearing from our Oracle Applications Group that is focused on Oracle Cloud Applications and EBS solutions. So let's discuss our agenda and a couple of housekeeping items for today's webcast. Now, if you have any questions, please type them into our chat on the bottom right-hand side of the screen, and we will be answering those questions at the end. So once again, if you see something that interests you or you didn't see enough information on, you'd like to hear a little bit more about it, type it in and we will get to it at the end. So let me pass our webinar over to Dibby. Dibby, are you there?
Yeah, thanks, Doug. Good morning, everyone. Doug, thanks for the introduction. Just a quick update on the agenda. As you can see, it's a pretty large agenda, and justifiably, each one of these topics we can talk for a couple of hours on each one of these topics. So we're trying to cover a lot of ground in 1 hour. So our objective, basically, or I should say my objective in this presentation, is to move from this picture. I hope you can understand what I'm trying to say in this picture. A group of blindfolded folks looking at an elephant, sees different parts of the elephant and forms their impression about an elephant as a snake or a tree or whatever. This is mostly what happens to us, when we work in the Oracle applications or we hear about cloud applications, and we're looking at one part of it and we have our own perceptions and views on how the cloud applications fit as compared to our view of EBS. And what we want to move from that is to presenting you a whole picture of what the elephant really looks like. So this is essentially the objective of this presentation, give you an overview of what cloud order management looks like and how it is different from EBS, without getting into too much detail on any single topic. That way we won't be able to cover much ground. What this definitely is not is a sales pitch. We are not trying to sell you cloud or even Oracle or even OSI's services for the cloud implementation for that matter. We are just trying to run this as an educational session, sort of highlighting the differences between EBS. All of us on this call that know and love EBS, I'm sure, and highlight how it is different, how the Fusion Cloud is different. So going back to our agenda, at a high level, the first thing we'd like to cover is just a high-level overview of the applications and the order-to-cash applications. So to give it some context, this is Oracle's total cloud applications, right? Everything Fusion. So as you can see, it has financial management, there's human capital management, procurement. The part where cloud fits in is with supply chain management. We have order management now, and there's manufacturing, planning, inventory management, all of that. So this order management piece is what we are going to talk about, and we will tail end it with a little bit of receivables as well, because that obviously ties into the order to cash cycle. The key thing in order management in the cloud is what Oracle calls the order hub. Now, as you know, today's sales order scenarios are way more complex than when EBS was designed, which was maybe 20 years, 25 years ago. And EBS has evolved, but it still retains all of the original design thinking that was there from at least a quarter of a century ago. Today's order management scenarios are much more complex. Orders come in from multiple channels, and orders are fulfilled through multiple channels. So the whole concept of order management and order management in the cloud is the order hub, where it serves as an order hub more than just processing the orders. It lets you redirect orders coming in from different channels into different fulfillment channels. That's the key of the whole application. At a high level, the order to cash steps are pretty similar to EBS. Anybody who's been, most of us on the call here are EBS experts, so this is a very familiar picture. The steps are pretty similar to EBS. You capture the order, you manage and enrich the order, you decide when and how you're going to ship it, you do the fulfillment from inventory, and it goes into finance. So the order to cash cycle is pretty much the same. There's not a lot of difference from what you know from EBS. The main question, of course, that order management in the cloud attempts to answer is which order lines should be fulfilled from which warehouses or which DCs, and should be billed from which billing systems. I talked a couple slides back on complex ordering environments and complex fulfillment environments. And all of us know that almost all organizations today, all retail, especially retail organizations and even non-retail industrial organizations, takes orders on the phone, captures orders on the web, gets in orders through EDI, gets in regular scheduled orders that just come in repeatedly. And they all need to be fulfilled from different locations based on the location of shipment, based on the type of order, based on product stored. So all of it is a pretty complex jiggle of information that needs to be handled and taken care of. And that's the question that Order Management Cloud tries to resolve through what is known as order orchestration. So it's almost like this person there standing and directing as they get orders from different sources on how to fulfill these orders, sometimes maybe even having to split the fulfillment if needed. So this is the whole crux of this module in the Fusion environment. In terms of a process overview, this process is pretty similar to the EBS process. You can capture orders manually, and you can enter orders into the screen directly. This would be like a customer service agent picking up an order on the phone. There are file-based order imports that you can get in through. It's pretty standard Excel-based files that you can get order imports in. It could also be your EDI orders coming in, for example. And then there are web services available through which you can capture orders, allows you to capture orders from third-party systems or other sources like the web. And for fulfillment, once you capture the orders, they get into the fulfill cycle. This is where the orchestration processes are assigned. The orders then get priced and orchestrated based on their different sources and the different attributes. There is a user interface through which you can monitor how the fulfillment is going, what is being successfully fulfilled, what is in jeopardy. You can track all of that and make changes to the order to make sure that you take care of all of the issues. You can view the statuses of lines, and then you can revise orders and then finally pick and ship. And after that, obviously, you get into the invoice and the collection cycle. So this process, the whole order to cash process end-to-end, is similar to EBS, with I think the major difference is coming out in which the orchestration processes are assigned. Now, order management in the cloud, the one thing where it stands out from EBS is the supported integrations. Now, all of us, I don't think there is a single implementation of EBS order management that doesn't have some kind of integration into it. At the very least, at a very simple level of just capturing orders coming in. And all of us have used the order management APIs to capture orders, and these orders either could come in electronically over EDI, like using file-based imports, or in some cases in the latter days, we would write web services to call these APIs and put the orders into EBS. Now, with OM Cloud, it comes in with a lot of built-in integration. So I'm highlighting the third point here before the other two. Capturing orders from external systems and doing fulfillment using external systems. So there are web services or file loads already available that actually help you do both of these things. The other integrations are pretty much out of the box. It's integrated obviously with inventory management and shipping in the cloud, also with the financials. And it is integrated, it's part of the SCM, so it's integrated with other cloud modules as well as with CPQ. Those of you who have used either Big Machines or Configure Price Quote, the CPQ module that Oracle did after acquiring Big Machines, it's integrated with that. It's also integrated with Oracle's Commerce Cloud service. So it comes in with a lot of out-of-the-box integrations available, as well as web services and APIs available for you to capture and talk to external systems. The next topic on our agenda is the key business flows for order management in the cloud. So this is just a basic order entry. The order entry screen on Infusion is pretty similar to the order entry that you would do on EBS. It has almost all of the same functionality. You can enter sales orders, you can edit and submit orders, you can check fulfillment line details, you can price orders, you can view returns. So everything that you see here is pretty much the same. There are some standard Fusion-related functionality that comes with all of the Fusion modules, for example, the analytics. So viewing the analytics of orders on how many were booked in a certain period, how many are awaiting fulfillment, things like that are all available as inquiries in the OM Cloud. The one place where you have a large difference, to me, this is a pretty key difference, is in order types. EBS has, as you know, customizable order types. You can have multiple order types. I have been in installations that have like 50 or 60 or even 100 order types at times. And you can actually orchestrate your orders using order types in EBS. So you can define workflows, assign them to specific order types, and you can have different types of orders being processed differently using just that attribute. What has changed in Fusion is there are no more order types, customizable order types. There are 3 basic order flows that are handled that Fusion caters to, and then everything else is handled through order orchestration, and I'll come to those details in a little bit down the line. But basically there are 3 order flows for new order, return order, and change orders or order changes. And these 3 order flows basically dictate how you are managing all of the orders coming into the system. So this is one point to keep in mind, that you will need to redo your order types and all of the processes around order types when you decide to move from EBS to Order Management Cloud. So just a little bit about each of the business flows. So this is a new order business flow. A new order comes in. The business flow looks pretty similar to the one in EBS. You can add items. You can add the order header. Then you add the items. You can configure the items. There is a built-in configurator as part of the order management module available now. You can check supply using ATP type functionality, and you can validate and book. And obviously, you can price the order using the pricing. And we'll talk about each of these things a little bit down the line. Then you get into shipment, where you do a pick release and ship confirm and invoice. So at a high level, it looks very similar to EBS in this business flow. The specialized order flows that can be handled in this are all of these that are listed here. As you can see, pretty much covers almost all the typical kind of orders that you process today on EBS, starting from dropship through recurring charge orders. Now, the change order business flow. Now, this is where I believe there is a little bit of difference with EBS. EBS also handles order changes, but in my opinion, the Order Management Cloud does a better job of handling and managing change. You can make changes to the order just like you would on EBS. It provides, but there is a process available to basically manage what kind of changes can be made, which is sort of similar to processing constraints on EBS, but you can define rules on what can be changed and when and what kind of approvals are required for these changes. So this is where, even though at a high level it looks similar to EBS, when you get into the details, you realize that it's a lot easier to manage order changes. Now, this is one thing that we have found constantly as a requirement in all of our EBS implementations with customers. How do you handle order changes, and especially orders that are drop ship or back-to-back type orders, which today mostly with outsourced manufacturing or outsourced fulfillment, everyone has back-to-back type scenarios with third-party fulfillment or suppliers, vendors supplying directly to customers. And order changes is always a big challenge, managing order changes. And we believe Order Management Cloud has done a better job in catering to that requirement. And then we have the return order business flow as another key business flow. It is like EBS. The line on the original order must be shipped out and closed before it can be returned. There is a confirm receipt step that it's an optional step that is not required before credit is issued. So you can decide whether you want to confirm receipt before you allow credit, or in today's scenarios, I think a lot of retailers may even give you the credit before you send the material back, before they confirm the receipt. So it's really up to how you define your business process, but there is an optional step over there to confirm receipt. And you can also add an order line to an order that has items being purchased. So in the EBS world, these would be like a mixed order category, where when you designate order types. So having covered the major business flows, getting to order import. Now, order import, we brought this up here as one of the key functionality, because order import is a big requirement among almost all businesses that we talk to today. Everyone gets orders externally, and everyone is talking to their suppliers and to their customers electronically. So in most places, I would venture to say about 10 to 15% of the orders are the ones that get booked manually. In some places even smaller. It would be even a smaller number. Most places have 80 to 85% of their orders coming in electronically, either over the web or over EDI or some other communication channel. So as I said before, Order Management Cloud provides both a direct web service integration. So if there is a web service available, you can create a connector service to integrate the channel that you want to integrate from electronically. There is an inbuilt connector service for CPQ in case you have a configure type product that you're selling that customers can configure on the web, and there is a connector available for that as well. And then you have the regular file-based imports, which are template-based and can be run through scheduled processes. So if you are doing regular imports or periodic imports of orders, those are available today through a file-based import available in Order Management Cloud. So incoming orders, we talked about them, orders coming in from multiple channels and multiple sources, and every place does not send you all of the information that you need to actually book the order in the application. So a lot of the information that needs to be filled in on the order could be actually coming in from internally from within your application, from the customer details or customer site details, or even the item details that need to get filled in. So there is a recognition in Fusion Cloud that there needs to be some kind of transformation done to the order before it can be booked successfully into Fusion, especially an order that comes in externally. And the solution is transformation orders. So there is this concept in Fusion which is not there in EBS called transformation orders. It is the transformation orders is a business object that is created in the order import process. So a regular sales order that gets booked into the application, it captures sales and customer service information. A transformation order is one that gets created during the order import, and then that transformation order needs to will again pick up information internally, and information that is used for fulfilling the order. So a couple of slides on transformation order, because I think this is an important concept that is different from EBS. A transformation order is created with transformed order lines. Once an order comes in, it gets converted into a transformed order, and the transformed order has sales order lines, and it gets orchestration processes assigned to it. The transformations are based on product transformation rules. So you could be having something on your website, for example, that says laptop computer XYZ. And that laptop computer XYZ could mean a laptop and an AC adapter, a certain battery, and a certain shipping and handling charge, each of them getting fulfilled from different places and following different fulfillment routes in your cycle. And this is all defined by the transformation rules within the application. Now, earlier, some of this was happening outside of EBS. You were probably doing it before your order import into the system using external customizations. Some of it could have been happening using different workflow routes assigned to different order types, and some of it happening through the configurator process. Now, in the Fusion, in Cloud OM Fusion, a lot of this will happen using product transformation rules. So you have one place where you define these rules, and then you can maintain it and link them to the equivalent transformation processes. The next area which is big is where we think there is a lot of difference is in the way the pricing is done. Now, Order Management Cloud replaces the whole advanced pricing scheme with something that is called pricing matrices. So we are all used to advanced pricing with its qualifiers and modifiers and the way it applies either discounts or adds, it would add charges based on the qualifiers and modifiers defined along with the price list. What Fusion Cloud does is, what OM Fusion does is it maintains pricing profiles, pricing segments, and pricing strategies. And it uses all three of these to put together a pricing matrix that then determines what price an order should attract. So pricing profiles are essentially customer profiles. Different customers are assigned different profiles, and the profiles could be, you could define what kind of profiles attributes you like, and then customers can be assigned, for instance, high volume customers, or high customer value, or medium customer rating. You know, depending on how important a certain customer is for you, you could define profiles accordingly. A pricing segment then takes these profiles and groups them into pricing segments. So you're sort of it's a market segmentation based on price using customer profiles. So the profiles get grouped into segments, which has the effect of grouping your customers into certain segments. And then you assign pricing strategies to a pricing segment. And a strategy will have different kinds of lists. There are price lists, cost lists, discount lists, shipping charge lists, currency conversion lists. So all these lists then form part of the pricing strategy. So in effect, what you have is a very flexible pricing structure that can be used for pretty much any kind of pricing scenario. It's a little more complex to set up than advanced pricing, but once set up, the maintenance is way more easier than advanced pricing. This we have seen from personal experience. So a few of the things to consider while pricing orders is order management does pricing every time a line is entered, every time it is changed or a line is repriced. Every time you click submit, there is a request sent to pricing. So if you have very complex pricing matrices, keep in mind that every time you do submit, there is going to be overhead attached to it having to reprice the order or reprice the line. The other thing to note is even though pricing, setting up pricing matrices seems to be so complex, and you apparently have so many attributes to work with, it's actually pretty easy to implement because it comes predefined. There is a set of predefined attributes and predefined categorizations available that comes seeded with the application. So you can pretty much set it up and be ready to go off the bat. I mean, you don't have to sit and create a lot of complex logic. You can define your price list and be ready to go just like you would on EBS. The third thing is a point here which we have seen and thought it important to note is that whenever there are start and end dates on the pricing, it uses the server time zone. It does not use the user's preferred time zone. Now that could be a plus or a minus depending on the particular scenario, but that's just something to keep note of. Maybe Oracle, they could be changing that in future versions, but as of now, that's how it appears. Next on the agenda, sourcing. Sourcing the orders. So all of us are used to ATP and global order promising on EBS. Just like on EBS, even in the cloud, global order promising is part of these supply chain planning modules. So you don't get GOP until you buy Planning Central on the cloud. The way it works is again pretty similar to EBS. You have a collections process where it collects all of your suppliers, transit times, on-hand quantities, etc., and uses that to globally promise, to do your global promising on data from that data model that it then acquires. The thing where this shines is the whole what-if simulation that you can do around GOP that you did not have earlier with EBS. So there is, and the in-memory engine is fast and it's available and available all the time. So it's much faster than the way it worked in EBS. The promising can be done in multiple modes. You can for instance you can have infinite availability, or you can use lead times, or you can use supply availability. So just like you used ATP, you could set up different promising modes. It supports configurable items, so configurator is supported over there. It supports advanced fulfillment techniques like back-to-back order lines, drop shifts, internal transfers. So it recognizes all of these and can give you your recommendations accordingly. The one thing I think it does here better than EBS is it can split orders for best fulfillment. So you can define rules where you can allow it to split an order, and a line can be split to order from different sources based on availability and also across different substitute items. And it also supports capable to promise and another new one, a profitable to promise. So it can look at profitability based on different sources, for instance, and look at different cost lists to decide which is more profitable and allow you to choose a more profitable path. And all of this is available in a what-if simulation mode. And this was a big requirement with most of our EBS customers, especially the ones that took a lot of orders on the phone while promising customers. Similar to EBS, it uses sourcing rules to do all of this. It selects the best organization from which to make the supply, and then it uses that. That is then later used by the planning modules to make supply available at the given organizations. So just like EBS, you can transfer, buy, make from as many sources as you want with different priorities and percentages assigned. So this is the user interface that I was talking about, the order promising UI. It's pretty easy to use, it's flexible, it's tightly integrated with your whole supply and demand modules, so it's integrated with Order Management Cloud. You can check availability, so you can actually have a customer on the phone, check availability, maybe even check different pricing and give customers options on whether they want something fast at a higher price or they're willing to wait and get a lower price. You can see how it pegs the supplies, you can identify late demands, and just like the rest of the other cloud modules, it has embedded analytics that helps you with making your decisions graphically. Next, after sourcing and after promising and booking the order comes fulfillment. So shipping the orders follows, again, it follows pretty much the same process. You can, after capturing the order, you have reservations, you have a reservation process, you have a pick release, and you can print pick slips, you have pick confirm, and then you can process and confirm the shipments. You can capture shipping costs at the time of shipping, which then make their way into the receivables portion and into the costs. The one place where we believe cloud shines above EBS on the shipping side is being able to talk to external fulfillment systems. Everyone, I think, and I can say this almost unreservedly, everyone today uses external fulfillment systems, be it third-party 3PLs or just external warehouses, multiple warehouses at different locations, or in many cases external suppliers even. I mean, many of our customers don't even touch the product themselves. They take the order and get supplied from a factory in China. So the Order Management Cloud caters to all of these scenarios. It also caters to the fact that you could be using an external financials application, maybe Oracle or a non-Oracle financials application. And in many cases, many customers use third-party billing systems even, because they have outsourced the billing function to either a shared service or within their organization or an external party. And all of these interactions are supported again through web-based APIs, web service APIs, or and through Excel file-based systems. So it's pretty easy to create these external interfaces. You can create and deploy as many connectors as you want. There is a standard template by which you can create these connectors. You then register these connectors with Order Management Cloud. You use your routing rules, which is part of your order orchestration, to determine which order lines are routed to which external fulfillment systems, which connectors to use. And then if there are any transformations needed, you can actually use XSLT transformation style sheets to make these transformations as needed. External routing rules can actually help you route your orders to either Fusion or non-Fusion fulfillment systems. So they can either go through cloud shipping, which would then follow the standard order management shipping process, or it can go through a non-Fusion fulfillment system whereby shipping is done externally and you get information back once an item has been shipped. And you can define routing rules based on different attributes on the order. You can define which attributes you need to pick up to decide your routing rules. It could be, for example, attributes related to the line or attributes related to the header, maybe to the customer or on the line to the actual item itself, or certain other any of the other descriptive flex fields that have been defined on the order line. You can also decide based on fulfillment line attributes. So based on, let's say, the warehouse that you decide to fulfill from, you can have routing rules, do certain things based on that. and then you can also define it based on the process definition, just the different processes that the order goes through. So as you can see, there's a lot of ways in which you can orchestrate the order. And again, a repetition of my pricing matrix consideration. Even though this all appears to be very complex and it handles a lot of different attributes, out of the box it comes seeded with things set up simply, so you can decide to even not use so many attributes if you have a pretty simple process in your organization. The other thing that helps in interaction with external systems is business event notification. Order Management Cloud is pretty good about being able to identify different business events and then send it or notify it to subscribers downstream. So one example would be where you have an order that is being, an order line that is being fulfilled by an external manufacturer with, let's say, a 2-week lead time. And the customer comes in and changes the order quantity, and you want that triggers that a business event that actually needs to send a signal to your external manufacturer's system for them to be able to modify their manufacturing schedule. And Order Management Cloud actually captures these events, and there are these notifications available that can then go to that external channel system that you need to send out, or it could even be to a 3PL, for example. So you can define what notifications you need to send out and what kind of notifications and what should be the content of these, and these are customizable criteria needed to fit the business. The point that we are bringing out in showing you all of the, bringing out these specific features is we have noticed that most of our customizations in EBS around the order management with most of our clients are in these areas: order imports, notification exports, order orchestration. And we believe that a lot of these customizations can actually go away when you decide to move to the cloud. You can actually redo those as standard out-of-the-box functionality using customizable events. Finally, well, not last, there's one more topic after that, but managing orders. So Order Management Cloud comes with a comprehensive set of order actually managing the orders pun unintended. You have a dashboard which sort of tells you how you're doing. This is part of the embedded analytics, and this comes built in with the application. These dashboards are available to you. Maybe the first thing that you see when you start up, it gives you a good idea of what you want to see. These things known as info tiles, for those of you that have known or seen Fusion. These info tiles can be configured and set up the way you want to do to show your to represent your information. One example of a very useful dashboard is Jeopardy. All of us, wants this question answered. Anytime you talk to any customer service rep or any warehouse manager, their first question is, what orders am I likely not fulfilling? Which orders am I going to get a call from a customer on saying I haven't received? So there is a Jeopardy, Order Jeopardy screen and dashboard available within the Order Hub, where it proactively identifies orders that may not meet the promised dates, and it helps you just decide which orders to attack and helps you take action. So you can then go in and revise the orders and then take care of them before they become an issue, before you get that phone call from the customer. I think this is a very key feature. We have always built custom reporting tools and custom dashboards around this, around being able to provide this feature to customers. The fact that it comes built in with the cloud, I think, again, to my earlier point, takes care of some of the customizations that you may not need anymore. And then we had touched briefly on change management. Cloud maintains order versions, so you have different versions of the change. There are pretty significant change management rules that you can define. You can define the changes on any of these in their impact on the orchestration, on the scheduling, reservations, picking, shipping, any of these areas there can be changes. You can then decide whether to allow a change or not based on, for instance, the cost of change. So you can use cost, they are known as cost of change rules. They generate a value that an order capture user can look at when they decide how to, if they are changing an order. For example, if you decide to move from road shipping by road to ship by air, and it will show up as a cost of change to you right away. That helps you decide whether you should allow that change or not, and you can have different kinds of approval mechanisms attached to this cost of change. So I think, again, this is the fact that it is out of the box takes care of at least 3 to 4 places where we have developed customizations to allow customers to manage order changes. And the last topic on our agenda today, receivables. Now, I don't know how many accountants are in this in the room today, but receivables, we could spend half a day just on receivables. So my attempt here is not to cover receivables exhaustively, but just highlight a couple of the things that we found interesting. The receivables process overall is pretty much the same as in EBS. Once you ship the order, you interface it into your AR module, into the AR. As long as you're using AR Cloud, it goes into the gets interfaced in there. And then you process the customer bill. So you create the bill, you present the bill to the customer, and then you do any kind of billing adjustments that you then process. And then there is a whole revenue recognition process and the collections process. So all of that is then based on, there is subledger accounting, GL reconciliation, and period close activity. And then there is a bunch of OTBI, transactional business intelligence reports available to view your AR and your collections activity. A couple of the things that I wanted to touch on in terms of new features. One is smart receipts. So mapping your receipts against invoices to the actual invoices is always a challenge. We have seen companies that spend days trying to reconcile the receipts to the invoices because as you all know, receipts don't come in clean all the time. Customers will send in checks without mentioning what invoices they are for. They could be grouping 5 invoice payments into one check. It comes into different modes through wire transfers, auto lockbox. There could be sometimes manual checks come in and in the mail, and then you get manual receipts. And reconciling these with your receivables is always a big challenge. So there is a functionality now available in the cloud called Smart Receipts, where you define smart receipt rules and let the system automatically assign the receipts to the receivables. You still have to do some level of manual work, but it takes care of a lot of the pain in doing these matchings, and maybe lets you handle only the exceptions. The other thing which is pretty neat, we think on the cloud, is this Excel-based receipt entry. Any customer where we have implemented AR just loves this functionality. Think of EBS where you had to enter every receipt manually into the system using a form, and let's say you got 50 checks in the mail. It was a day's work entering those 50 checks. Right now on the cloud, now you have this Excel-based receipt entry where it's very easy to quickly create Excel entries for the customer receipts that you get, and then you can, just like you use a web ADI on GL, it's an ADI type interface that allows you to upload your receipts through Excel. It saves a lot of time, and you can use copy paste and things like that to create these. You can also have an approval route defined for the spreadsheet. You can send the spreadsheets to reviewers and approvers. People using AR just love this functionality, so we thought we should mention it. Another new feature that I wanted to mention was the receivables to the general ledger reconciliation. Again, this is also another always a big challenge. You know, your receivables that it shows up versus reconciling it to your GL through the GL and the journals in the GL. So with the subledger accounting. So now in the cloud there is a reconciliation report that make sure that the receivables activity is properly captured and reflected in the financial results. The report identifies the exceptions, and then allows you to quickly investigate the differences in balances and drill down. So these three features that I talked about, I should say, I believe help you save a lot of time in your AR department and the way you process and manage your receivables. That sums up pretty much ends all of the topics on my agenda. I'll just hand it over to Doug to summarize.
All right, thanks, Dibby. And just a reminder to everyone, we're going to get to our question and answer session here momentarily. But Dibby covered a lot of information here. We upload all of our presentations to our YouTube channel, and for those who ask, we can send out a PDF version of it. But once again, everything's uploaded to the OSI Consulting YouTube channel, where you can go on and review everything with the commentary involved. So in summary, and kind of going back to Dibby's example with the elephant in the room, Fusion apps are the elephant in the room, and we need to do something about it. Either scare it out with a mouse or incorporate it into the room, which brings us to our perception of ERP order management on the cloud. And essentially, it has most of the functionality of EBS order management, which you're used to, but you'll need process changes if you want to replace EBS with it. And keep in mind there are some key areas that you need to plan for, and we want to really emphasize order orchestration and pricing. There are some major differences there between EBS and on the cloud. And with most cloud modules, you have to be aware of your extensions, interfaces, any customizations that you've created on-premise, your reporting, any data conversion, and finally, you have to be aware of security requirements. And with any move from on-premise to the cloud, we highly recommend an assessment so you and your team understand the timelines, costs, risks, and changes in processes personnel will have to follow to make the move to the cloud. Usually there is some process change. So OSI has developed a cloud assessment service. During this assessment, we will provide you a full report on the feasibility, the risks involved, and any changes required, and visibility on those gaps. It's detailed and specific. You will also receive strategy advice on phases, integrations, and any business process change. We are known for handling these projects or assessments quickly for a fast turnaround on your investment. Now, if you have any interest in a discussion around what you heard today, feel free to contact us through either our website or the Contact Us form available there. And we also have our contact information listed below. But we will get back to you promptly to help you through any assessment or move to the cloud. And another quick reminder before we get into our question and answer session, our next Oracle Cloud webinar will be on August 31st. That's the last Thursday of the month. So let's get started with our question and answer session. And we've had a couple of questions come in. It looks like a few more, but we're going to start with those who asked first. So Michael came in first, and he had the question of, can Fusion apps be used to, can they be used or integrated with EBS apps? For example, can you use EBS financials with Fusion order orchestration, or the same for other scenarios?
Yes, definitely. We can use EBS, as I mentioned a couple of times in a few slides there. Order management in the cloud has all of the connectors available both on the financial side as well as on the fulfillment and operation side to help you connect to external financials or operational systems. Okay,
great. The next question comes from Arnie, and we have two parts to his. So Arnie asked, how is capable to promise available when planning does not support constrained capacity?
That's a good question. The planning does not, there is no constraint planning in Planning Cloud. That is, you're absolutely right that there's just unconstrained planning. But what capable to promise looks at is what is available, what has been collected as planned supply. And it assumes that whatever plan has been fed as planned supply to the GOP module is calculated by you. So it doesn't matter whether you have planned, you ran a constrained plan or an unconstrained plan, you ultimately got back what it collected as a plan is these items are being available as supply on these dates, whatever way they may have been derived. And that is, and this is the capacity available currently. So that is what capable to promise looks at just by looking at capacity and current supply.
Okay. And Arnie had a second question. What EBS OM functionality is missing in cloud order management?
Order type. The order types that we already discussed is the order types concept that we discussed is probably the biggest difference. It's not necessarily missing, but you would handle it in a different way. So instead of having different order types for, your different lines of business or something like that, you might handle it as orchestration processes. So you would handle downstream fulfillment with an orchestration process and point it toward different fulfillment systems or different ways of billing and costing, that kind of thing. I think that's the biggest.
Okay, thanks, Kate. So the next question looks like comes from Peter, and he's curious how error handling is handled. Is that through the notification functionality?
I'm presuming this is error handling in the interfaces. And if it is, that is handled, order orchestration handles, order orchestration handles the ability to send out signals and manage the signals. So anytime there are errors coming back, that would be treated as an incoming signal that is unsuccessful. And that would get handled through the order orchestration.
Okay, thanks, Debbie. So our next question comes from Bob, and Bob is curious, is OM cloud fulfillment flows, does that allow for sourcing services from third-party suppliers, for example, drop shipping non-shippable items, which is not currently supported in Oracle EBS?
Services, yeah, I think they do support a pretty robust drop shipping process, and I believe that in that case, if you had services, you would just do that logical receipt and say, yeah, they've been delivered, and it would, I believe it supports that. Okay,
great. We had another question come in from Manoj. He's curious, what is the level of customization allowed on the Fusion platform? And also, if one were to move to the Fusion Cloud, and in the future, if they decide to move to another ERP, what's the accessibility of data in the cloud to cut over to a new ERP?
Good question. So customizations is a question that is asked all the time. Oracle initially, like a few months ago, was saying every time that you should not customize. I think they're changing that tune slightly now. So there is a whole set of tools available for you to customize. So we talked about different out-of-the-box flexibility and functionality that's available to configure, for want of a better word. Then there are a bunch of personalization tools where you can personalize forms the way you want them, add different value sets and different fields and things like that. So that's another level of customization. And on top of it, you can use Oracle PaaS to actually design extensions, write extensions that then plug into the cloud applications using all of the APIs. So that is also available, and we've been doing that at a couple of our customers as well. So there are different levels of customizations available. The challenge in doing all of these, keep in mind, is that unlike in the EBS world where you decided your destiny, in the sense that you decided when you wanted to apply patches or when you wanted to upgrade to the next version. And at many times you would decide not to upgrade because the risk of doing it was too high because of the customizations. You don't really have that choice here with the cloud. With the cloud, Oracle will come up with a new version every 6 months, and it's part of your contract. You cannot say you can maybe delay an upgrade by a couple months, but that's about it. So every round of upgrade that happens, there is a risk attached to any customizations that you have done, and you have to go through the effort of regression testing all of those customizations to make sure that they work in the new version.
All right, thanks, Debbie. Looks like we had one more question come through from Ram. What are cost lists in pricing?
Okay, so cost lists in pricing, they allow you to capture costs so that you can basically implement cost plus pricing. So when you're pricing items or services in Oracle Cloud and you want to charge a customer, you can do this basically 2 ways. You can have a fixed price that you then apply discounts to, or we can use a cost plus, which is useful if you're operating on thin margins or you want reflective changes based on the cost. So we have this calculation where you take your cost from your cost list and you add your different adjustments, and you come up with a list price, basically.
All right, awesome. Thanks, Kate. So it looks like that is all of our questions that have come in for the day. Once again, thanks for attending and joining us and walking through the all of the different modules and components involved today. But more importantly, this is an ongoing series. There's a lot of parts and components to Oracle's cloud modules, especially as they evolve. We see the maturity curve increase. So once again, our next webinar will be on August 31st. We'll be announcing the topic shortly.
Well, I can announce it right now.
Here we go.
The next one will be Planning Central Cloud. We'll be comparing Planning Central Cloud to Demantra and ASCP, which are the 2 modules that it's essentially replacing.
Okay, great. So we'll be discussing Planning Central Cloud on August 31st. Once again, that's the last Thursday of the month. And this will also be available on YouTube, that you can go to OSI's YouTube channel. And if for some reason we missed your question, we find that after the fact, we will be following up via email to make sure that we provide you an answer. So once again, thanks for joining us. We look forward to seeing you next month. Take care.